Today we will complete our study in the Nirvana Sutta series, ST 50.28 to 32. That is the A9.50 to 9, or rather 9.45 to 9.51 according to the number here. So the sequence are not exact here, but they're kind of listed together. The first sutta which we'll do today is called the Tadanga Nibbana Sutta, A950, and then Titta Dhamma Nibbana Sutta, A951, and then it kind of goes back, Kaya Sakhi Sutta, A943, and then Panya Vimutta Sutta, A944, and then Ubato Bhaga Vimutta Sutta, A945. Now, these are terms referring to various kinds of arahats, how they become arahats. But what's interesting here is all these terms are used in the same way, in the same structure, referring to Nibbana, pariyayena, in other words, in a manner of speaking. So what does this mean? So each of these terms, in other words, is used to describe how these meditators, of course in this case they have become at least stream winners, they overcome certain, in stages, they overcome the fetters and so on. So that moment of, that aspect that they overcome is that so-called Nibbana, in the provisional way, in other words. So here we see these various terms being used to describe the various, the kind of stages that all these saints go through. So here again we see there is this kind of almost a colloquial way of talking. They're not strictly technical. So let's look at what all these terms can mean to us. Now, I must say that I'm not giving you a very exact technical explanation. I'm giving you an explanation from understanding, from the experiential way, in other words, in terms of practice, and of course, based on the sutras, and how this kind of understanding can help us in our practice. Let's look at chapter 28, 50.28, Navaka Tadanga Nibbana Sutta, the ninth discourse on Nirvana to that extent, A9.50. So here again, the theme is the progress to Nibbana, step by step heading to Nibbana. And notice this sutta and all the other suttas we're going to mention today, they come from the Book of Nines, so they have this prefix Navaka, the nines. So the structure is basically the same. The nine Anupubha Vihara, the nine progressive abodes, which are the four form jhanas, first, second, third, fourth jhanas, followed by the four formless attainments, which are the four formless jhanas, if you like. They kind of follow right through. And then the last one, number 9, is special. This is cessation. So this is only attained by the arahats and the Buddha. So we see here, in other words, this very interesting progression, form dhyanas to formless dhyanas. Okay. And then, in other words, these are the stages that this meditator, the learners go through and then become arahats. So as they progress, they experience minor so-called nibbanas, if you like, the ceasing of certain defilements, of certain mental fetters, and then they end up with Nibbana. So in this sutta, the term used is tadanga, to that extent. So in a sense, to that extent, they have attained Nirvana. It's that kind of provisional Nibbana. They've overcome that particular aspect of the defilements and so on. So the sutta starts the same as the others, originating in Kosambi. Nibbana to that extent, Nirvana to that extent, also, it is said. How also has the Blessed One spoken of Nirvana to that extent, Tadanga Nibbana? And then comes a sequence of the 9 progressive abodes. First, the first dhyana is mentioned. Here also quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome mental states. This monk attains and dwells in the first dhyana. Right? So, to that extent, that is Nirvana, overcoming of certain hindrances, certain defilements. And then, as you know, these jhana factors are given up, especially the first 2 are given up, and then you come to the second dhyana, right? So that's called, this meditator who has attained second dhyana has attained Nirvana to that extent, Tadanga. And then it goes on like that to the third dhyana, some more fetters given up, and then the fourth dhyana, where there is equanimity, to the extent this meditator, this sekha, this learner has attained Nirvana to that extent. And it goes on like that now to the formless attainments, right, to the first of the formless attainment, the sphere of infinite space, and then where to the extent this meditator has overcome all perception of forms, so to the extent has attained Nirvana. And then the next formless attainment, that of infinite consciousness, and it goes on to it goes through space, consciousness, nothingness, and then neither perception nor non-perception. Gradually goes kind of more and more refined, and then finally, so up to the end of the formless dhyanas, it is still called Nibbana to that extent. But in the case of the last one, the ninth stage, ninth abode, which is the cessation of perception and feeling, here it is, and having seen it with wisdom, his mental influxes are fully destroyed. To the extent too, the Blessed One has spoken on Nirvana to that extent in a non-provisional way. So here you see this nipariyayena is the key word here, which shows that this person has attained Nirvana to that extent, meaning there's nothing beyond. But in the previous 8, there's always something more. So that's the difference here. So it's a very interesting play on concepts here. Right, then the same thing is applied in the next sutta, A9.51, Navaka Ditta Dhamma Nibbana Sutta, the 9th discourse on Nirvana here and now. Not Nirvana after death, but Nirvana here and now. So this is SD 50.29. So here the term Ditta Nibbana, Nibbana here and now, is used. So when the meditator attains the first jhana, that is Nirvana here and now for that meditator, especially for that learner. In the case of the learner, is progressing, is sure to move on. Of course, you can also apply it to a good worldling, if you like, but he has to make extra effort. So then, the learner goes to the second jhana and he abandons certain mental factors, dhyana factors, and he attains the second jhana to the extent it is nirvana here and now. And then the third jhana, fourth jhana, and that is nirvana here and now, letting go of the various dhyana factors. And then it goes on. Of course, one point you must remember is the meditator can stop anywhere. I mean, he need not go to all the 8 to attain nirvana, but at any point he may be able to attain nirvana, right? But if he wants to attain the 9th abode, that is the what is called the cessation of perception and feeling, he has to go through all the 8 stages and then reach the 9. Okay, so that is one thing we must remember. So each of these stages are said to be nirvana here and now. And now we come to the next sutta, Kayasaki, Navaka Kayasaki Sutta, and this A 9.43, that discourse on the body witness. Here body witness means this person personally experiences all the formed dhyanas and the formless dhyanas. So again here the term applied is Kayasaki, right? So let's look at the first one. It says, here are also a monk quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome mental states, attains and dwells in the first dhyana, right? And so on and so forth. And then the last line says, to that extent I was so, the Blessed One has spoken of the body witness in a provisional way, or provisional or relative manner, if you like. So this is the body witness. He has directly experienced this jhana for himself. And then the second jhana, everything is defined. And again, he is said to be this body witness to the second jhana, the third, the fourth, and so on, and until you come to the 8th, the jhana, the formless jhana, and then after that he attains, well, he's an arahat, so he attains the cessation of perception and feeling. And in this case, he is a body witness in a non-provisional way. He has attained nirvana, in other words. So you see this very interesting kind of usage of the term Kayasaki. Now we come to a rather problematic term. There's a Panya Vimutta, the wisdom liberated. Okay, the Navaka Panya Vimutta Sutta A 9.44. Now what's interesting is, technically this is the Arahat who is liberated by insight wisdom. In other words, he attains Arahathood by reflecting on impermanence. But he still needs some level of jhana, some level of calmness of mind, of clarity of mind. So here you have the same structure here. It's like this musical arpeggio, the structure is basically the same. It's just that you make some variations here and there, but it's the same pattern. So here, the starting is the same. The first jhana is given to you, and then the second last line says he understands it with wisdom. So he understands his first jhana with wisdom. What does that mean? He knows its impermanence, and being impermanent, therefore it is unsatisfactory, non-self, and so on. So it is this understanding that makes him awaken. So at any stage he can become awakened. So my understanding is that this wisdom-freed, their jhana is not very strong. Okay? But it doesn't mean that they are not good in the jhanas. They can. Some of them may be able to build up the jhana and go through all the 4 or even all the 8 and then become arahats. And once they become arahats, they can go on to attain the cessation I must admit here, I have a bit of difficulty how to explain how do they go through all the 8 abodes and then attain cessation, because they are not good in their, for example, the formless jhana. So that's a bit of difficulty there. So I'm going to explain this according to the flow of the Dharma here in this series, according to the text, according to the words, because the lines are the same, the ending lines. The first jhana, the last line says, to the extent Avuso, the Blessed One has spoken of the wisdom freed in a provisional relative manner. Okay? And then, but anyway, if you look carefully at all these lines, it's the same line in every paragraph for each of the 4 jhanas. Now we look at number 8, the 8th jhana, that is the last formless jhana. It is said, to that extent too, the Blessed One has spoken of the wisdom freed in a provisional manner, relative manner. So this a Seka or this learner is not yet an Arahat. He attains that level, and to that extent it is his Nirvana. Okay, in Panya Vimutta way. And then from there he goes on to attain the final, the Arahathood, Nirvana of the Arahats. So, as I said, this is a bit tricky, we need a bit of reflection here, so perhaps you may be able to discover the true meaning, the correct interpretation in your own way. Now, then the last one is not difficult here, the Navaka Ubato Bhaga Vimutta Sutta, the 9th discourse on the both way freed, A9.45, the Arhat liberated in body and mind. In other words, here he attains all the jhanas himself, and so he's liberated. Okay, he becomes an Arahat. Most of the great Arahats we know are this kind, or in this category. So the structure is the same, right? The first jhana is mentioned, the definition is standard, and then the last line says, to that extent the Blessed One has spoken of the both way freed in a provisional manner. Okay, so here again there is wisdom being used. This meditator reflects on the jhana as being impermanent condition and so on. So then the meditator goes on through each of the 4 jhanas, then the 8 formless jhanas, and attain cessation, or rather attain Arahathood. And having attained Arahathood, he is able also to any time kind of enjoy the feeling of Nirvana by going into the state of cessation. So here you are, we have all these various terms being used to describe the experience of Nirvana. Of course, this sounds a bit technical, so don't be too bothered if you are not sure what's going on here. Just choose one of the suttas and then go through it carefully and try to understand this one sutta, and from that understanding build up the understanding in the other suttas. Sometimes we have this feeling we understand what the sutta is about, we even understand the general drift of the sutta. It's just that, for example, in the case of the Panya Vimutta Sutta, there is a bit of technical difficulty there. How is it that this Arahat who awakens without the formless jhanas, for example, how does he get into the cessation? So that we have to reflect a bit. Okay, so these are things which I suppose we have to attain awakening, full awakening, to understand. So it's okay. There are certain things we still do not yet understand, but there is a lot that we have understood that it is enough to equip us to move on that journey, on this very high level journey, if you like, on the path towards Nirvana. And it is always good if we have such difficulties to take a few steps back, study the easier suttas, build up our understanding, and over time our understanding becomes clearer and sharper, and we see Nirvana in clear focus because we are already there. So now let us close with a short reflection. Nirvana has to be personally experienced. It is not difficult to imagine it, as the suttas tell us. Take, for example, if you attain the first jhana, you reflect it as being impermanent and so on. And that is an provisional experience of Nirvana. So in a sense, even if we overcome anger and we reflect, where's the anger gone? It's not gone anywhere. We have overcome it, we have let go of it. It has attained Nirvana, so to speak. So we gradually build up this understanding, and we have a better, ever clearer understanding what Nirvana is. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. By the power of such karma, may we be blessed with a calm and peaceful mind, a clear mind, with good health and wisdom, so that we have the courage to aspire to attain at least stream winning in this life itself. And by the power of the three jewels, let us also send out our loving kindness to our loved ones, that they may be well and happy. And to those who have been kind and supportive of us, may they be well and happy. And to those practitioners who are serious in practicing the true teaching, may they too awaken in this life itself. And by the power of the three jewels, may those who are lost and those who have difficulties in the Dharma, may they too see the true way and return to the true way, and in this life itself attain spiritual awakening. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.